Let's go to the Lord. Heavenly Father, we thank you for Michelle. Father, we thank you for bringing her here to our studio, Father, where Rob and I can get her story, Father, and maybe help a soul. Father, as we say, we want to save one. Father, we just want the one, Father, and I ask that you use Michelle today. You give her the comfort, hold her in your arms, Father. Let her open up. Let her tell her story so that one soul can be saved, Father. Father, I thank you for my birthday today. I thank you for the years of sobriety. It's a blessing. I thank you. My gratitude is overwhelmed like most days in this program, Father. I thank you. Thank you, Father. I ask now that you sit with us and be with us, and as we go through this, and we say these in your name. Amen. Let's go to work. She's a rookie.
It's Robin, Larry, and here again. We don't need letters before or after our names. Just two drunks with a lot on our brains. Sit back, relax, let us carry the load. We've walked that dark and winding road. We're just two alcoholics.
Welcome back, Robert.
So, with your long arms, why don't you take that fancy coin?
That is catchy.
It is kind of catchy. I even like.
Right there. Oh, right here. Right there. That is what Rob gave me for my 4th year. That one right there. So and he made a little spinner in the middle. He got a little spinner in the middle so we can spin the bottle. I mean,
it's multi-purpose.
Multi-purpose. So when we're camping up in the cabin or up in the mountains, you don't have to bring Abigail with you.
Nope. Boy, she's dead.
Poor Abigail.
Right. That's my chicken. A chicken that died.
Dude, Bonnie cracked me up yesterday. She had no clue what we were talking about.
So, in the rooms, Michelle, but, we've got to introduce our guest.
Oh, hi. We got Michelle coming in.
And some of the
Sorry.
As we're talking, and when you're trying to not necessarily gain the confidence, but people don't want to come in and share some of the things, and you'll hear some of the men, well, hey, my chicken died. And so I say that, and my chicken's name was Abigail. And my wife has never heard that, apparently. So she heard it yesterday, and she goes, what do you mean? I said, well, I fucked the chicken, and it died.
You did.
And I noticed that she was 3 years old. I said, no, I didn't, but it's just a way of loosening people up.
It's so funny.
Everybody can relate to Abigail.
Oh, yes. God. It was funny. A little closer with the mic.
We all have those.
Michelle, a little closer.
Okay.
Yeah, you can pull that boom all the way over to you. Thank you so much.
We all have those. Those one things that you're going to take to the grave, and you're not going to tell until you're so broken that.
Except nobody will believe you because you tell the whole world about Abigail.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I swore this morning that I was going to release the Abigail files on Rob to the world.
No, you can't blackmail me with nothing. I'm good.
So we recorded yesterday. So this was kind of a funky recording, right? I had Michelle on schedule because Michelle's the one you guys heard me talk about when I shared in Escalon. When she asked me to share in Escalon, I said I'll share in Escalon, but you have to come onto my podcast. So I blackmailed her, and she did, right? So
was that blackmail or bartering trade?
It was bartering.
It was bartering.
Turn me back up, my headsets, babe. Yeah, why you got me so low, girl?
Because you talk too much.
I'll get the mic off me and back up. Okay, anyways, I'll start talking normal. Anyways, so, but then I got another one out of the blue when Stephanie was here and was recording. There was another one that I've been trying to get for a year. And I coached with her dad, and there was just a lot of history there, a lot of family history. There's 3 sisters involved. He died of a massive heart attack because of pills.
And this one wasn't the happy ending, that usually ours have because we've had
right,
husbands, wives, a lot of stuff.
And anyway, so when she agreed to do it, I was like, and I joked about it yesterday. I'm a salesman. Rob, will you stop flexing your titties? God, that's distracting.
Look at that.
Good grief.
Look at that.
Yeah,
go ahead. What were you saying?
I don't know, dude.
I can't remember.
And then, so we record. So when Sarah, she said that she wanted to. She said she finally texted me. She's like, "This is me being brave. I've decided to come and record with you." And I was like, yes, right, because. When I know that those stories can save a soul, but and it's when she finally realized that it wasn't about her pain and it was about helping another soul. And she works in a recovery home, right? She doubly had it, and her sister's been in a recovery home for 14 years, working in a recovery home. So a lot of recovery in the family. It just, they haven't dealt with it yet, right? They still have their
Well, and also,
dad
they're not
on a
one-
shelf.
They're not
cremated.
they're not one of us. They were
No.
just dealing with one of us, who was their father.
One of them is.
Wait, well,
the
yeah,
oldest.
The oldest is, but
Yeah.
one we had on was not.
No.
But yet she had a lot of the isms, and now she's just starting to work through some of those isms, which is awesome.
So anyway, so we recorded yesterday and today, and it's been a whole weekend of recording, and and I appreciate you coming, Michelle. And like I said, we're going to Rob and I are sit back. We're going to have you walk through your story. We will interrupt you, right? We will
Please,
walk
yes.
through it. Think of it as an AA meeting with a couple idiots
Which
that
we
don't
are
like
not
to shut
associated with AA in any
Yeah,
way.
you told me it's not an AA meeting.
It's not.
It's not.
It is not.
It's not. But I mean, we are associated. I mean, it's kind of hard when I sit on a camera with my big old AA symbol right on my arm, but my fellowships. Anyway, so yeah, so Michelle, tell us, let's get into it and let's walk through it. Like I said, it doesn't. If it takes an hour, it takes an hour. If it takes 2 hours, it takes 2 hours.
Sure.
So this is
I've heard it's a
your
great
show,
story.
Yeah.
huh?
Thanks.
I've heard it's a great story.
Thanks.
Let's go.
We'll
But
see.
I did not
Hopefully.
know about the leap, the sober, and then 3
Yeah.
years. Okay.
Yeah, 7 years. And yeah, my story is that very early on, and you hear this a lot in the rooms, I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. I needed something to make myself feel like I could be a part of. And I found that in alcohol and other drugs. Drugs are a part of my story. They just are.
Powdered accelerant.
Any methamphetamines?
Whatever you have.
Let's go.
Robert.
Let's
Robert.
go.
Garbage can here. Anything you had, I would take.
Wow.
Certain drugs were never around when I was growing up, so there is one that I haven't.
Not heroin.
experimented
It
with.
wasn't much heroin.
That's
but-
only, that's the only one I have.
Oh, it
Anything
was
else?
around.
I tried crack even, and I'm telling you, if that was around, I would have been doing it a lot more.
Really?
So yeah.
Talk to me.
Damn it, Rob.
No, I'm telling you, I'm glad it wasn't around because
So what was because I always ask because I'd never.
Yeah.
What was that highlight?
It was just intense.
I can honestly tell you, we went through a series of crack for a while because we couldn't get cocaine. We couldn't get cocaine.
But isn't that just crystallized cocaine that you smoke?
Yeah, and I never liked cocaine because it was too fast, right? It just
it'd go
was too
away.
fast. Yeah, it's done. So it was kind of.
But it
pointless
wasn't
to
as
me.
harsh as the crank. But when we couldn't get cocaine, we went to crank, and it was just bathtub shit.
Yeah, I did a lot of meth. That's how I met Johnny, actually, my ex-husband. Yeah, early on knew. And I also knew that I was different than my friends because even though a lot of my friends, I surrounded myself with people that drank, I surrounded myself with people that used different substances, but most of them would stop during the week and go to school and, get their things done. That wasn't, I was like, well, if we like it on Friday and Saturday,
Right.
why wouldn't we do it on
Right.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Just keep going.
Yeah,
Right.
that seems silly to me.
What a waste.
Yeah. So even then, I knew I was different than my friends, and I did get pregnant at 15, which slowed my using down a bit. Had my daughter at 16, and then was right back onto it. She was my little sidekick. She would go with me everywhere in a stroller, and until I started to get even deeper into my addiction. Then I would leave her with my mom. And
Was your mom onto your
my
gig?
mom. She was, but she was so naive. That
Well,
woman was.
Do you mind if I ask what year this is? Is it in the 80s
my daughter
or
was
90s?
born in 95.
Okay, that's same about ours.
Yeah. And my mom was older when she had me. She was 42 when she had me. So different generation.
Right.
Right.
And she grew up, she had never touched alcohol, drugs, anything. I never had that in my household. And she would catch, find something of mine and flush it down the toilet, anything. She got to where she would throw sockets away because she assumed I was using it to do some kind of, which I was sometimes, but that's funny. Yeah. She would throw anything away she even suspected. So thankfully for her, she was there for my kid when I couldn't be.
Good.
So I went to my first program when I was probably 18.
Wow.
And
okay.
yeah, I was very young. I knew there was an issue. Before I went to the program, I remember going to Stanislaus County Behavioral Health.
SRC.
Yes.
SRC?
And no, not SRC.
Oh, you're talking about behavioral health.
Behavioral health.
NPC.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I thought it couldn't be the
But that's
drugs
a
and alcohol.
But that's a
Right.
psychiatric
Yeah.
center.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it can't be that. I'm something's wrong with me. Something's wrong. And I went to there for an assessment, and I remember the guy told me, well, because I was honest about my using, and he said, firemen don't go into a house to see what caused a fire until they put the fire out. And saying that
that's
the
a
drug,
good analogy.
yeah, I thought it was
That's
a
a good
great
analogy.
analogy. So he was like, first you got to get clean and sober, and I was like, I'm not going to do that. So I didn't.
Are you guys out of your fucking
Yeah,
mind?
exactly. That's how I cope. What do you mean? So I wasn't going to do that. But then I finally decided I would give it a try and went to a program. Then met a guy, and everything was going to be great with this guy. That's what I needed, really. I didn't need a program. I needed this guy.
Need to feel love.
Yeah. So pretty quickly, I left the program to be with him, and we were going to live happily ever after. And shortly after that, my daughter, I had another daughter. My daughter was born when I was 19. Again, that slowed down my drinking for just a bit. But then, of course, when she was born, it just kept going. And I got to a place where I couldn't stop. Even pregnant, I was still smoking weed. I could stop the drinking at that time.
Was your husband at the time aware of it, or was he involved in it?
No, he didn't know I was smoking.
Nothing.
No, and he worked in the Bay Area a lot, so he was gone all week long, so I could do what I wanted. And then he'd be home on the weekends, so it was a little easier to hide. And then he ended up leaving me. Surprise, because he's kind of normal. So, he didn't want to be stuck with me. So at that time, then I have a 2-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old daughter, about that age. And I just went full force into my using and drinking, and would leave both my kids with my mom. If it wasn't for my mom, my kids would have been in foster care for sure.
Wow. Thank you, Mom.
Yeah, thank you, Mom, for sure. I had a mama that prayed for me constantly, believed in me constantly, and never gave up on me.
Did you grow up locally?
I did.
Okay.
Escalon.
Okay.
Yeah. She also was an enabler, though.
Most naive people are.
Yeah.
Right.
She was definitely an enabler. She protected me from a lot of things that maybe she shouldn't have, because it can prevent people from hitting bottom when you protect them from too much.
I want to touch on that too, because a gentleman who was his wife, he's struggling with his wife. She's a drinker, and twice he protected her from a DUI because she made it home and before the cops showed up, and it was like a hit and run, and I said, okay, why you put a pill on her ass? Well, I'm the one that's got to pay for the DUI, Rob, and it's going to come out of my. I get that, but she, and then it happened twice.
Right.
So
All he did was protect her.
Put pillows under people's asses, and they don't get to bounce. Yep. And they don't, because what do we move at the speed of what?
Speed of pain.
Speed of pain.
Yeah, for sure.
True. Very true.
So Mom protected you?
Mom protected me. And so I'm running just full force into my addiction. And there was one point where I remember feeling such shame that I could not stop using. I could not stop drinking. I got pregnant for the 3rd time. My son, I had him when I was 21. But this time I couldn't stop. I could not stop using meth. I used meth when I was pregnant with him. See, I get emotional too.
It's fine. You know what? It's not that I love emotion. Emotion shows it's real. Yeah. This shit's real.
It is real.
Yeah.
And my mom used to say that I was his first convert because that kid changed my life, I mean, the events that happened from me being pregnant is what changed my life. But when I met Johnny at that time, my ex-husband, and we got married. He was using too. We hadn't got married yet, but we were both using. And then I had my son, and he tested positive for drugs.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So at that time, the only reason why they let me take my son home from the hospital was because I lived with my mom. They were very clear about that was the only reason why, because they knew that she would support me. So CPS showed up the next day and told me, if you don't go get into a program, we're taking your kids. And I did. I went the very next day after that, went to Stockton to sign up for a program, got into the program. And before that, though, I did want to share one thing that happened that really was this place of hopelessness for me. Was my oldest daughter was probably, 6, 7 at the time. And this is when I was just really deep in my addiction. And my mom lived in apartments across the street from the place that I was staying. And I remember going over there because I had a friend that lived in the same apartments, and I heard my daughter's little rollerblades coming up. I could hear her, and I hid from her. There was this dumpster area, and I hid from her because I was so ashamed. There was just so much shame, and I just could not face her. And that's a moment where I was like, I can't keep doing this, and yet I did. I did.
Powerful.
That's that addiction, right?
Yeah.
That's that addiction.
Yeah.
How many times do we wake up and say, not today? Not today.
Well, over and over.
And in 30 minutes or an hour, and fucking here we go, right
Cunning,
back
baffling,
at it. Yeah.
powerful.
It's just
patient.
This disease is brutal.
It is over and over. So I got into the program after my son was born, and I remember them saying in the program, and I've heard this from so many people now over the years in the rooms, but I remember hearing them say in the program that only one of you is going to make it. You know, the
True fact.
statistics show that
True
only
fact.
one of you.
And we know they're not lying.
Right,
No,
right.
nope.
And in my head, I'm like, well, that's me. I'm gonna make it. You know, I'm sure of that, because I was so committed, and you know, I was going to meetings regularly. I got myself into school. That was something that I found out too, that I actually do really well in school when I'm not using drugs or drinking. Right?
Go
what
figure.
A shocker. Yeah.
I'll be damned.
Yes.
I might try that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So I remember when I was in the program, in my my program and in AA for, you know, several months, and then I started going to junior college, and I was going for a certificate in something, and I remember this school counselor, and I'm so grateful for him, that he said, if you stop at that, you're selling yourself short, because I did really well on testing. Like I said, it was a shocker to me that I actually did well sober.
Somebody else saw your potential.
Yeah, somebody saw it.
That's,
Yes.
that's a fun feeling.
Yeah, yes, and I believed it for once, because I remember people telling my mom that growing up, like, she doesn't live up to her potential. She doesn't, and I was like, they say that to everybody. You know?
But they don't.
You know, and
I mean, but the comfort in our own skin, because I was the same way. We don't believe it because we don't see it in ourselves, and we don't want to believe it, because for me, that's also a lot to live up to.
It is.
And what if I fail to meet your expectations? What if I fail to, then if I just stay here,
right.
I won't fail. I won't try either, but I won't fail.
A lot of people, I use the analogy of the Truman Show, right? It's a movie. If you've ever seen it, right?
Yeah.
It's a Truman Show. It's all inside of a bubble. And till the guy's 30 or 40, he just the same thing every day, right? I mean, so you just get accustomed to that. And that's just the way it is until somebody tells you, you know what, there's more out there.
Yeah.
There's more out there.
But as you talk
And
about
you realize,
hopelessness and having hope,
Right.
and when you believe,
right,
just
more.
a little bit,
Right.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit of faith. All it takes is that
wait to hear
pinprick of light.
Wait to hear about how much education she has now. And
Well,
I mean, what God has done. It's amazing. We'll get there. You just wait.
You want to go ahead and just finish her fucking story for her?
No.
Jesus.
Hey, that's called like a prelude, you know.
I appreciate that.
Where we'll feed the audience a little bit. You just wait. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
We're not coming back next week.
No, but at the end of the story. We'll get there.
Okay. We'll shut up.
So at that time, you know, I'm going to meetings regularly. My life, it was totally different. It turned just completely
How was
different.
Johnny doing at this time?
He got sober a year after I did. So I got sober in January after my son. My son was born December 29th. My first sobriety date was January 9th. And then Johnny was a year later in January.
Ninth, what year?
In 2001.
That was your first one.
Yeah, that was my first one, 2001. And, you know, my life just totally changed. I had a car, even though my first car, I would have to carry, Bill tells the story all the time that I had to carry a broomstick in the car because I would have to hit the solenoid while I'm turning the key to get it to start. But I was proud of that sucker.
That's funny.
Yeah.
My second car, we had to push start to get started. I had to pop the clutch to get it started. I would sit outside at college.
You know how many people probably don't even understand what she just said?
But those of our listeners will know.
Yeah,
That's good stuff.
You can't even find a manual transmission anymore,
That's
but I
funny.
miss them. But I would sit outside and wait for people to, some men to walk by that could push my car after classes so that they could help me get going. So yeah, good times. But I was super grateful for it. Super grateful. I could not have been more excited about that little Tercel and that little rabbit that I had. You know, I was so proud. Bought him myself.
That's a great feeling.
Yeah, it is. It is a great feeling. So at that time, I, again, started school, continued school, ended up finishing at junior college, transferred to CSU Stanislaus and got my bachelor's degree. And over this time, I'm starting to forget that I'm an alcoholic
Right.
because I started to move away from the program.
How many years sober at this point?
So at this point, I'd say about 5.
Oh, wow.
And I was still going occasionally.
Did you think
Just-
meth was your main problem?
I did. I did think that.
me too.
Yes, I did. And I was like, oh, maybe I could drink, you know, and it definitely, I would see Bill. I love Bill, is so special to me. I would see him every now and then and he'd be like, how are you doing? And I told him, I'm doing so good. You know, I've got this
Look at
degree
me.
now. Yeah,
Look at
look
me.
at me.
But you were.
Look, I was doing good at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And he would tell me, let's see how that goes for you. instead of just being like, oh, honey, you're on the wrong path, Heyman told me, let's see how that goes. And I was.
Is that Doug's original sponsor, Bill? Yeah. He lives here. He lives just right over here.
He's very special to me. So during that time, I would go through the steps like 1 through 4.
1, 2, 3 dance.
Yeah, 1, 2. I'd start
1, 2, 3, 4-ish.
Yeah, 4-ish. Exactly. I'd start 4 and then be like, I don't really want to do this. And
God, I don't understand that right there, though. I don't. That was the most freeing thing I've ever done in my life.
I agree now.
I just don't. Okay. The people that are scared of that.
So your first set of sobriety, you never did the steps.
I didn't ever do it in 7 years.
It was a 4-ish.
Yeah.
But you were staying busy. I mean, you were.
Yes, and I would go to meetings. That's what I did. Well, but I stayed.
You thought you were protected under the umbrella of a meeting.
Yeah, I did. Right? I really did. And
that's a very true statement to a lot of people.
Look what Nathan. 6 years, and he finally didn't.
But Nathan never went back out. Nathan was just.
No, he was just crazy.
He was just crazy. Yes, he was just miserable.
He had emotional break.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I did. Where you take away the alcohol and don't have the treatment. The tool.
You didn't do the isms.
No, I didn't do the isms exactly. So I did things sober that I could not. I did more things sober that are more embarrassing to me than things I did drunk.
Chicken sober?
Yes.
Sober
like
chicken.
Sober. I had an affair on my husband. Wow. I did things that I stole from work. Like it just blows me away.
Isn't that something, guys? That when I was sat down with Jay, and I didn't realize I was doing this, and I show this all the time, but I was doing the Fred Flintstone. But and I didn't. And we had my steps in front of me, and page 64, and our liquor's but a symptom. Yeah. And then I realized it was me. It wasn't alcohol. Exactly. It was me. I was the problem. I mean, it was alcohol just didn't. I mean, and I can do stupid things sober. I've done stupid things sober, but it's not.
Yeah, but did you ever put DEF into your diesel?
No, you've done that. $18,000 worth of DEF in the diesel. Not today. This is like 2 weeks ago or so.
Oh no!
Never did that drinking. Oh, just saying.
Yeah, right.
Wait,
right.
Just saying. Tell her what you do for a living. What you've done for a living.
I have broker fuel since I was 30, 25.
Oh no!
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been in the fuel business all my life. Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Yeah. Anyways, why did we go down that road? Anyways, Jesus. I get my truck back this week, by the way.
That's good. Yeah.
Oh, does he?
So more stuff sober. So you had your degree after 5 years, right around
So
there.
I got my bachelor's degree, and then again,
we go down rabbit holes, Michelle. Just so you know.
That's okay. I'm right there.
So I sent him that a few days ago.
He's a dick.
That's how you're
That's
supposed
how
to
big
do
of
it.
a dick he is.
The DEF goes in the DEF hole.
He's gonna give you a tutorial.
Yeah.
He ain't the only one that's done that, by the way.
Sure.
My own daughter sent me a picture of a DEF handle because she works for another fuel company. She sends me a picture of a DEF handle and she goes, "Dad, this one goes in the blue side."
You're not going to live it down, huh?
No, it's fine.
No.
But I learned that in these rooms, right? 5 years ago, these conversations would never happen.
Sure.
Never.
They would just be angry.
I know. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And people wouldn't talk about it.
Right.
They would laugh about it behind my back, but never talk about it to my face.
Right.
Anyways,
Yeah,
man, we
totally
distracted.
No, I got it. So yeah, I got my bachelor's degree, and then again, I did so well that I was like, you know what, I'm going to keep going. So I did. I went into graduate school, and I knew I wanted to help other people because when I was, I have some childhood trauma in my past, and when I was in rehab the first time, there was a clinical social worker therapist that just really, she spoke to me. She did a survivors of sexual assault group. She did these. She just saw me. She saw me, and that was very powerful to me. And I was like, I want to be like her when I grow up. I want to help other people.
I went through 3 counselors before one really, really saw what was inside of me. Yeah. Right, 3 counselors, so and powerful. Almost got kicked out 3 times before a counselor saw.
That was 4 years ago.
Yeah, it said, "I got you."
And 11 years before that same counselor saw me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And we've had him on.
Oh yeah. Oh, I have to
Anyways.
listen to that one. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, she spoke to me, and I knew I wanted to be like her when I grew up. So I thought I'm going to go into to social work. So I started my master's program, and there was one, and this is when, again, further and further away from meetings. Every now and then, just pop in to show you how good I'm doing.
Right.
Look
at me.
Yeah, look at me. Look at me. And when I'm there, I'm saying like, oh, this is what the program has done for me. But really, it was my ego that was having me show up. Right. Because again, doing sick stuff, having an affair at the time while I'm there, talking about how I'm doing so good. So I remember one of my professors in one of my classes said, I don't believe once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic, because there was a study done on rats that
you should probably be
different.
punched.
if
for
that
saying
was
that in a class.
dangerous thing for me because my alcoholic brain,
heard that.
I heard
I'm okay.
that. I
I'm
heard
okay.
that I'm different now. I'm not who I was when I got into the program at 21.
I'm educated now.
Yes, I'm educated. So I remember talking to two of my best friends, and as I'm coming up to getting my master's degree, it's getting time for me to graduate, and I'm like, do you guys think that I could handle drinking now? And now I realize that normal people don't have to ask.
They don't
that.
have to ask.
You don't have
Right.
to ask, but I'm consulting, trying to get them to
That's so
co-sign for
funny.
me. And both of them were like, yeah, I think you
Are
can.
you still friends with them?
One of them's in the program now.
Nice.
She's been in the
Nice.
program for like 12 years. Yeah. And then my other best friend's a total normie. She would drink we're all three
I
of
hate
us are
those
at crew.
people.
Oh yeah.
Hate those people.
She'd drink half a drink and be like, I'm warm, I'm done. I'm like, what
That's
do you
this
mean?
one over here.
Give me your drink. Yeah.
Damn with people.
I know. I have a friend that says if I could drink normally, I would drink all the time. I love that. I'm like, yeah, I can relate. So during that time, after I got that co-signing from my two best friends saying, yeah, I think you could handle it. You're in a different place in life. My graduation happened. And on my graduation night, I drank for the first time after 7 years. And I remember thinking that I should have got drunker than I was. Like it wasn't, I had several.
You didn't have any tolerance at that time.
Right. I was thinking
hammered.
after 7, I should have been hammered and I wasn't. And now I know that people that are alcoholics tend to have a higher tolerance even before they cross that threshold, you know?
Right. Oh, yeah.
So that was the truth for me that night where I drank quite a few shots and was not feeling it like I should have been. And it started going okay, a little bit okay. Like I was like, oh, I'll just drink on the weekends. You know, the things we do where it was, I'll drink on the weekends. I'll only drink at home. I'll only drink at parties.
Man, I've
I'll
read that
take-
somewhere.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not
And
for
I'm like-
sure where have I read that at?
It's in the 30s, page 30.
Yeah. I did switching from
Swift Scotch to whiskey.
Yeah, switching from vodka from
Beer to
beer because
wine,
beer was
yeah.
making me fat. You know,
I
I'll just
switched from
drink
Coors
vodka.
Lights to 805s because I
Beer
could
to vodka.
more alcohol and I can buy them for the same price.
Yeah.
There you go.
I never
Yeah.
drink beer.
Yeah. Oh, it made me fat, so I switched to vodka. Yeah, that was the solution to me, not to stop drinking or
No,
drink
right. Yeah,
less. That
it's a switch.
that would be ridiculous. So during this time, my kids, you know, now at this and at this
Teenagers have got to be at this time.
they were
Close.
close. Yeah, close. My youngest one was. Well, my youngest one, we had another one that we had him, and I
Oh,
relapsed.
so you have two boys.
I have two boys.
He's
Yeah.
the youngest.
You got 5
No,
altogether or
he's the
4
youngest. I
altogether?
have
Okay.
I had 2 girls and 2 boys, and there's a 7-year gap between the youngest two.
Okay.
So
That was that 7-year sobriety time.
yeah, that was it was, and came along, and I relapsed about 2 years. He was probably 2 when I relapsed, and thankfully he was maybe 1. He was young enough when I got sober where I don't think he ever remembers me drinking. Because my last drink I took was in 2011, but we talked about those isms.
Right.
So I haven't drank since 2011, but there were a few things around that I did that they weren't around often, thankfully, or I probably would have done them a lot more. But I had done those without going back to alcohol, thankfully. But because I work an honest program, I don't count the 2011 as my sobriety time.
Can you say what you mean by that, or is that something you don't want to?
I did shrooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That randomly
Those
happened to be
psychedelics,
around.
baby.
Yeah. the
Yeah,
Psychedelics.
and they actually say that those are the things that help alcoholics and drug addicts the most.
Well, in microdosing.
I'm just telling you. Hold on. Let me be careful. Yes,
I mean, microdosing.
Because when Dr. Rachel was on, that's one of the things that we talked about was the
Ketamine-assisted
ketamine,
Yes.
Well,
the ibogaine. You know, the ibogaine's the one that's growing hugely right now.
Little Mike's doing ketamine treatment through the VA.
Yes, and
Yes.
it's been shown to be very effective for
Right.
PTSD.
Yeah.
So it does have its uses. Me, I don't use
You're
it like
just
that.
using it for
Yeah, I
So
don't
we're
use
just
it.
chewing them up and just sit
Yes.
there. You know what you should do?
Watching the mushrooms grow.
Well, either that or you take some acid, some window paint, some 3-way. You go out to the park in the middle of the night. You get a garbage bag black,
Has to be black.
5-gallon bucket of water, and you light the bag and just watch it drip in the water.
Are you
Full
weird?
night.
What planet
Anyway.
are you from?
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't doing it for therapy reasons. I was eating it in chocolate. You know, that's not how they do the therapy of it. So yeah, I definitely I had to. That broke up my sobriety time, but during that time too, I do want to mention you were talking about ketamine assisted treatment. I know there's benefits to that. However, it's under the direction of a doctor and a therapist.
Right.
I did get my hours to become licensed, so I'm a licensed clinical social worker.
Wow, okay.
I'm a therapist. That in a way in some ways prevented me from going back into the rooms.
Why is that, Michelle?
Because I thought I could do it. Where I'm like,
I got this.
Yeah, I got this.
Yeah,
I
that's
teach
that.
people to do this.
Well,
Like,
what that it literally says that is the sophisticated people. It talks about that in our books, right? The sophisticated people are the most difficult people to convince that they got a disease.
Yep. Yeah.
That's when I sat down with Jay, and he looked at me because I was,
Here we
he
go.
said, "What he did?" He said, "Son, I've seen a lot of them because he just celebrated 50 years." He said, "Son, I've seen a lot of men that are too smart to get this, but I've never seen anybody too dumb."
Yep.
There was a long pause. He says, and I'm just sitting there. I'm telling you, you got a chance. 2 years later, I go back to a Bible book study. I said, "You fucking insulted me 2 years ago. I just got it. It just hit me. Clarity."
That's
Yeah.
funny.
That's great. Well, I had somebody tell me one time, a surgeon can't perform surgery on their own back. And
fact.
That really spoke to me, where I can help your child. I can help you. I can't help myself. I need this program. That's my story, is I need a program.
Yeah.
I have a lot of faith. I grew up my mom was faith filled. Like, I was in church the Sunday after I was born, until I was old enough to ditch, that's what it was. So I've always had this faith. And I remember when I was younger, I used to think, why doesn't God heal me? Like, I see other people just be able to be like, God heal me, and be done, and not have to go to meeting. Not at the time, this is
called
what I'm
action.
thinking at the time. Yeah. And my story is not that I just had this miraculous, here chains are broken, you don't ever have to do any work. My story is that I get to be a part of AA. I get to be there for the next woman that comes in suffering. And if I did have a miraculous healing that didn't require additional work, I wouldn't be there. I wouldn't be there, and I wouldn't have done the deeper work, the isms. So I'm grateful for the way my story went.
I got to say something real fast, because between what Michelle just said and what I heard, a few things that I've heard over the last few days, and I thought about this. I don't know why it just started to come up, but God removing my obsession as quickly as He did, I think I'm an anomaly. I have not heard of that a lot, because about day 20, my obsession was lifted, and it was lifted quickly. And I listened to Rob about the struggles that he went through.
Well, no, that was an obsession. My struggles weren't obsession.
Well, okay, it's not the obsession, but everything that you struggled with in your sobriety.
Early sobriety, yeah.
That early sobriety, I don't, and I hear other people talk about that, and I never had that.
But there's
a moment of it.
And what is the book talks about? There's the educational variety,
right.
And then there's some get the burning bush,
right.
So
mine was absolutely burning bush,
yes.
Because when I saw those chairs turn around backwards, that literally ripped my life
May
apart.
28th, 2011, when I was crying on my ass in the hallway, alcohol stopped working.
Right.
And I told my sister I'm an alcoholic, and then the obsession left. However, dealing with the isms, the first year of sobriety was. The first year or so was tough. It was really a lot of this. Yeah. Really a lot of this. So that's
I had minimal highs and lows. I had
but
highs and lows.
But who God, the sponsor God put in your life?
Oh God!
Just kept you.
Chris Lytle hadn't have come into my life, I probably would be divorced or dead, one or the other, or both. So.
Amazing how God works that out, right?
Yeah,
Puts you with the right people.
Put two people, Sean Monaco and Chris Lytle and Marla, and those two just. Anyways, man, we're rabbit holes. So
no, it's okay. I'm with you. My obsession was lifted too. To this day, I don't have an urge to. I can't tell you the last time I thought of taking a drink. There are other things though that have come up. Again, completely sober. So in 2011, when I took my last drink, I remember every day, and you were talking about it at the beginning, where every day I would say, I'm not going to drink today. I'm not going to drink today. My oldest daughter's taking care of my younger kids, and, I'm having my 12-year-old drive us home from places because I didn't want to get a DUI. I was responsible. Right. So I'm having my 12-year-old drive us home.
They must have done all right.
Yeah, thankfully she did. She's a great driver. She's a paramedic today. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
All of my kids have turned out really well. Thank God.
Say that again.
Yeah. Thank God. For sure. Thank God. Because they're all incredible human beings. Yeah. But I remember just feeling every day not wanting to drink. And every day my car would automatically go to that liquor store.
Disgusting.
Automatically. I'm broke because I'm drinking so much, and I've got a good job, and I'm buying 32s of Bud Ice or whatever it was because that'll get me drunk fast. And
I switched to 805.
Yeah, and
it's the reason why I went to whiskey.
Sponsored by Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah. And I remember the day that one day I was sitting in my office and I was like, I cannot keep living like this. I can't. And I called my daughter. I said, I'm going to be late tonight. And for some reason, I had guilt about being late because I wanted to go to a meeting. And I'm like, this kid's taking care of my her siblings every single night because I'm hammered, but I have guilt about coming home late to go to a meeting. It's ridiculous. But I did. I called her and told her I was going to be late, told her I was going to a meeting. And she was old enough when I had relapsed where she remembered what life was like at that point. So she was like, yes, Mom, please.
Were you not married at that point?
No, I had left my husband at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, I left him at that point. And I went to a meeting that night. I think it was at Northside. And I remember instantly feeling my shoulders relax.
You're right.
You know, just instantly like, oh,
No, that
this is
feeling.
where I belong. Yeah. And I haven't drank since that day. That was October 10th, 2011. But again, I still kept putting, I let that, and I've heard this a million times in the rooms, don't let the life AA gave you get in the way of your AA life. And I did, I didn't drink, but I was still, not going to meetings. I didn't have a sponsoring myself,
That always works out well.
It always goes great. and again, I was sicker than I was when I was drinking.
Mentally.
Yes. I mean, I got with somebody who was full-blown alcoholic, drinking, using substances.
You're going to save him.
Yeah. Oh, yes, because I can be the savior.
Look
Even
at
though
me.
I can't save myself, I can save others. Yeah, and I realized like how sick I was. Just sick, so codependent. And I got the gift of desperation at this time. I got this gift, and I knew you can't do this alone. It's not working for you. And so I went to the Escalon Fellowship, and met Marianne, who's my sponsor, who,
Beautiful lady.
That woman has saved my life. She has, she's been my God filter many times. Now I have a much better relationship with God where I trust more that I'm actually hearing from God and not just myself. Because it used to be sometimes I'm like, I think God wants me to go down this path, and Marianne would be like, no, God's not telling you to get with this guy who also still has a drinking problem. That's not a good idea. Right. So she was my God filter a lot. But
you were wise enough to listen, because I've struggled with sponsees like that, and but they'll go ask. Well, they'll go ask 5 or 6 other brothers, and finally find the one that'll co-sign their bullshit.
That'll agree with them.
And they go.
Yeah, no.
So at least you didn't do that.
I trusted her.
But she's amazing.
I just don't
amazing.
ask.
Yeah.
I just go do it, and then my sponsor yells at me.
See, I've gotten better.
Well, I'm
about
not your
asking
sponsor. Well, you
before.
fired my ass.
I did on air. Told him get the fuck out. I got Doug now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you guys both have the same sponsor then, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Doug and I sponsor each other.
Yeah, and I just, you know what, for me, I wanted to go. Doug would just had a lot of my similar backgrounds with our parents and stuff, and similar stories. And I was getting to the point where I still had a lot of stuff coming to the surface, and I kept just pushing them down, and I felt myself doing it, and it kept me in those highs and lows, and I just got to the point where I was like, this is stupid. This is absolutely stupid. And I'm like, then I asked Doug if he would walk me back to the steps, and he was like, fuck. And then
I was like, he's your problem. But then I got resentment towards my sponsor, because a couple of weeks ago I did a little mini 4-step on fear. He didn't answer. And I went to my son my son, I went to Logan, but the bedroom next door, did it with him. Then I had to call Larry, do with him.
words matter.
Words matter.
Had
to.
You've got to.
I got to.
You got to.
Let's see if he caught that.
Words matter.
Who says that?
I love
You,
I got
you
to.
prick.
I know.
I love I got to instead of I had to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to.
Well,
right?
I'm a stickler about words. Words matter.
I learned that the first day I was coming home fairly early in the morning, fairly early in my sobriety, and I was talking with him coming home. I was like, I got to go over and see my dad for a little bit. And he goes, you get to. And I'm like, it stopped me, right? He probably had said it a million times before, but that time it got me. I had a guy say today, and I still use it. His mom's in the hospital and she's struggling, and he says, why is this always happening to me? And I said, because you use those words right there. And he's like, what? I go, because you use those stupid words right there. He ain't doing it to you, dummy. And
he might be doing it for you.
Yeah.
that.
And then he goes to tell me that my mom's been struggling with Alzheimer's for 3 years, and I'm like, man, he needs to stop and think for a moment. But anyways, whatever. That's another.
So Marianne,
Yeah, words are powerful. Yeah, so Marianne definitely she showed me how to do the deal, and you know, gave me a life that I can't even imagine. I couldn't have even imagined, you know. I've heard in here many times, like if I would have written a list of all the things that I wanted, like I would have been sold short.
Yeah.
Like the life I have today is just so different.
It's incredible, huh?
It is incredible. And
Just be sponsor, have a car that starts without a stick.
yeah, yes. I
Yeah,
have a car-
but we'd have been happy with that. But God says,
Yes.
no, I've got so much
Guys,
more
I have
for
a
you.
car that has a butt warmer. Like
Yeah.
it warms my butt. I don't
Yeah.
even have to. Not only do I not have to use a stick, it has
Yeah.
a heater
Those are
on
the
the
best.
seat. Yes, it blows my mind. It starts every time I get in it.
Yeah.
It has
That's
air
awesome.
conditioning. That's
But,
a gift.
but you know, God, and it is a gift. The people that we get, but you
Gracious.
also
Yeah.
you bought into it. You put in the work.
The work.
Yes. And
Because I got to be here for I started
yeah.
like years ago and got to watch Michelle
Yeah.
come in and just
Because I had that gift of desperation. I knew I needed to be well. And I knew, so I talked earlier about how I went into the, to Behavioral Health Recovery Service, BHRS or whatever it's called in Stanislaus County. And cause I just thought I've got mental health issues. And then he's like, you got to get rid of the drugs first. And then I took away the drugs. I'm like, oh, and I still got mental health issues. You know, that's there too. Yeah. So just having to really be humbled too.
Yeah.
That because I did come in
Oh, yeah.
educated, and I'm like, don't you know, I'm
Right.
I'm this and that, but I don't know how to fix me. But I have a program that has shown me a God that I never even knew growing up, even though I was in church every Sunday.
isn't that something?
Yeah.
Is how real he is, and I didn't change my theology. I just had to change my approach, and the program gave me that how to get to him. I had to get honest. I didn't have to get good to get God. I had to get fucking honest.
Yeah.
What
Absolutely.
did Pastor Ed say this morning? That Katie and I are lazy and we watch church on TV, and it's the Pastor Ed Newton out of CBC out of Houston, Texas. Fantastic. But he said something this morning almost identical to what you just said. You know, but as our AAs as our AA, the further I get into AA, I see just the similarities between the church and how people are walking and just, you know, and I posted something this morning, you know, and it's the very last paragraph. It's on 164, the very last paragraph, as we drudge through these roads of the happy destiny.
Trudge.
I mean, we're all in this together.
Hey, how
right?
did that one go about, you know, because there was an AA meeting at the basement of the church, and, you know, the service went on the top. And so the sign said, if you want to hear miracles, it pointed upstairs. If you want to see miracles, it pointed downstairs.
Yes,
Watch,
I
hold
love
on.
that.
Yep.
So I want to say something.
Go
Because
into a church, you can go upstairs and hear about miracles, or you can go downstairs and see them.
Love that. Yep.
I think we got to go downstairs.
Right.
You know, a question that has been asked by more Christian authors and speakers than I could count, tons of them. They'll talk about the marvel of AA meetings and then ask, why can't the church be more like AA? And I think the short answer is, it can if Christians are willing to be more like alcoholics and show up in utter neediness.
Utter neediness.
And be real about not hiding.
don't wear masks.
Yeah, and that's basically what Pastor Ed was saying this morning. So when I heard that, and I've had like 3 people ask me to forward that to them now, right? I mean, there's a guy at Blair, which is out of Houston. I mean, because there's just so much reality right there. Because when we came here, we were broken beyond repair, right? Broken beyond repair. When I walked in and I said this to one of my daughters this morning, when I had to watch the 3 of them, my wife and my 2 daughters, drive away, I still have the look embedded into my head, right? The vision of those 3 girls, my world, driving away, right? I never want to put them back through that, ever, right? I was so broken until 5 days later when I was sober and I started to bring my arrogance and Larry started to come back. Thank God that God intervened with me and with Chris and destroyed that right before I left there. Mm-hmm. Anyways, but yeah, that's being broken is the right place to be. Yeah.
And having the right people in place to, you know, God putting the right people that you can hear them, you know. And I try to listen to everybody. You know, I was taught a lesson early in primary purpose because about listening and hearing. There's certain people that I can hear, and they're mostly men. There's 4 women. When they share, I can hear them. Marianne, you, Mary, and Susan in Oakdale. It's amazing. So when you started coming in and I would hear you, I could tell you're educated, but you didn't share from your books. You shared. I could hear you, and there's something powerful about that. So.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. The books are great, but they didn't get me sober. The education did not get me sober. And, I earlier I heard you talk about that freedom from the 4th and 5th step. Yep. And that's where I was this time when I came in, where I was desperate to get through. I wanted this freedom so bad that I kept hearing about. And so when I got to my 4th step, I was like,
right?
Yes, go.
Did you feel it coming off? Did you feel it peeling off the more you wrote it? God, I wish Rob and I have spoken about this. If we could create some kind of a perfume to spray on people so they can feel that.
Well, the ones that we're talking about, they got one more run in them.
Right.
They don't need it, man. You don't have to go back out there, but they are. We want to make a spray. You can help us. Right. Make a spray. Here's your last one. You're good. Now they're just get over that hump.
And you almost want to go, dude. Do me a favor. Just do like 4-step for 30 minutes. Just spend 30 minutes on that 4-step. And Rob says this all the time. If that don't work, we'll refund your misery, right? We'll refund it. Just give it.
I'll buy the first bottle.
Right.
But and I did give him credit, like I'm sure like you were. He was ready.
I was burnt.
You couldn't go fast enough. He was just ready.
Oh yeah. When I got to my 5th step and met Marianne, I said, let me tell you these things first, because I do not want to tell you them. Right. So I got those right off the bat.
That's so awesome.
These are the things I don't want to tell you. So let's get them out there. I was desperate. And I felt that freedom after the 5th step so heavily.
For me, it was when I got in front of that other person. When I got in front of that stranger, or not stranger, that person that I hurt, right? When I got in front of that person that I had hurt, and just like, dude, I am just absolutely broken for what I did to you. And that there was one, and it was my boss, and it was one of my old bosses, and I cost him a lot of money, and it was brutal for me.
Go ahead.
No, that's fine.
How about you? As you went through the steps, 6 said, go home, take the book off the shelf, that hour, 8, 9, how did all those go?
Yeah. So after my 5th step, I took the book off the shelf, went and sat for an hour, and I had.
Did you really put it on the shelf?
I took it with me from Marianne's, because I'll share with you, I had just bought a house.
Okay.
So I bought a house that we hadn't even moved in yet. Like, it had just closed.
No
I
shelves.
got the key. I had nothing. But I got to go there by myself and just sit there with God and, talk about this feeling of gratitude.
See, that's where 6 and 7 is where I got mine.
It's just stuff. Like, it's
right.
stuff, but the fact, like, I'm looking around, I grew up where, we got food from the food pantry,
right.
like, and I'm looking around at this house that has a built-in swimming pool,
right.
And like, this is what got it, that I've gotten,
right.
This is what God has blessed me with, because
promises.
Yes, these
the
promises.
9-step promises.
And I got to sit in that empty house and I
You
wrote a letter to God.
painstaking.
Yeah. And it was very powerful for me being able to do that hour and 8th and 9th
in an empty house.
In an empty house.
That is such a vision for me.
Yeah.
Think about that in a big living room, no furniture,
that you just bought,
sitting on the ground,
doing the work.
Yep.
Sitting on the ground with just nothing but you and the book.
Just me and the book and God. And my higher power. Yeah.
Right. That's awesome.
It was very cool.
That's a great vision.
Yeah, it really was great. Yeah.
And then she furnished it and made a home out of it.
I did. Yeah. And I got to do that. And because of this program, I have people that want to be in my home. I have people that want to come over, that want to,
including your kids,
including my kids.
Right.
That is such a gift, because, making amends to them, because I did some, messed up stuff. Of course, we all have, times where I said I was going to go to the store and didn't come back for 24 hours.
Which one? What were the hardest ones?
What's that?
What was the hardest ones?
Probably my son, Isaac.
Why is that?
He's my oldest son, because he's one I would often tell, I'm just going to go to the store and I'll be right back, because he'd be upset, and just the shame. Like, I would tell him he loved sour Skittles. So I told him I was going to get him sour. I would always tell him, like, I'm going to bring you back sour Skittles. Yeah. And then I'd be gone, and my poor kid. And
how old was he?
He was probably, I don't know, 9, 10 maybe.
How old is he now?
He's 20.
Good grief.
What year are we? We're 2026. So he's 25. He's going to be 26 in December. Yeah. And so for
Kim and Valachi are both December.
Yeah. No, February.
Okay.
Yeah. So for amends for him, I actually got a a big box of sour Skittles from Costco.
That's funny.
You know, and just to sit, and you know, they were all just like, Mom, it's okay, you know, and I'm like, I have to do this.
No, that's right.
You know,
No, yeah.
I have to do this.
You have to do it.
Because they're like, Mom, no, it's fine. No, it's because they've known me sober for, you know, because I had, even though that 7 years, I wasn't working a program like I should have been. They still had me more than when I was drinking. So, you know, but I still let them know, like, I have to do this. And I have such a great relationship with all of my children. And, you know, I have this granddaughter who is just the light of my life. You know, she is 9 years old. That girl has never seen me take a drink.
Yep.
It's funny because she's heard me in meetings before she's gone with me, or she's heard me, you know, if I'm on Zoom or something. And when I say, Michelle, I'm an alcoholic, she looks at me like, you don't even drink. You know, she's even said that to me,
Right.
like, you don't drink, Nana. I'm like, well, yeah,
That's
I
funny.
don't. And a good thing I don't. But
It's
you know,
because of these meetings,
yeah,
sweetheart.
that's what I've told her. It's because of these meetings. And, you know, something that has always been very powerful to me is that, you know, my daughter trusts me to put her daughter in the car. Like, I get to drive my granddaughter around, you know, and that's a miracle because I couldn't be trusted before.
First time my daughter
neither
let
could
me
Larry.
take my grandson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my oldest daughter was by far the worst, the toughest amends that I had to do. By far. It was brutal to do hers. And it ripped me apart from limb to limb.
Yeah.
And it was brutal.
But in my opinion, four, I mean, all the steps are great and they're in order for a reason. 4 and 5 have their moment. I didn't have that. For me, I was like a raw nerve. I was exposed. I didn't get no free. I didn't get any freedom. Sorry, I didn't get any freedom from that 6 and 7. When I went home and took that hour, is when I felt the Lord come in.
Yeah.
For me. But 9 and 9, yeah, and I know they say 6 and 7, the 12 and 12, 6 and 7 is where it separates the men from the boys. Not from me. 9, going out and when your sponsor finally lets you go out and stand before people, prepared, you know, not to make shit worse too. Because if we don't do it right, you can fuck shit up. But that is the humbling part that I believe God wants.
And that's the difference between you and me, because that happened to me in Chris, and I explain it this way, is that I was just if you ever been in a photography studio when they're developing film and it's just so dark, that's how I lived my last year and a half, and just pure dark. And I didn't know that I was in it, right? And I've said this multiple times. If I turn that dimmer switch down right there, just little by little, over a period of time, your eyes adjust. You don't even recognize you're in the dark, right? And I was literally living in the dark. And when Chris did those things to me and turned all that stuff around, and I saw a pinprick.
Tell Michelle because she doesn't know the story. We all heard it, but tell her. He almost got kicked out. They went through 3 counselors because he's a prick.
I told this to Sarah yesterday. I thought I already said it.
No. So they said, we're going to give you, because Chris didn't take on clients at that time like he did when I was there. So we're giving you to Chris. And he's like, who's Chris?
Who the hell's Chris?
The one that's been teaching the class. So they go to, so finish the story.
Yeah. So we had one meeting, and I always enjoyed Chris. I mean, he taught a great class. I'd always take notes, and I went into his class, a little bitty bathroom size hall or office closet, and we had a little sit down, and he's like, okay, tomorrow I want you taking notes about what everybody says in class, and I don't want you sharing. And I'm like, I can do that. So
Probably the roughest day of your life.
I honestly, at that point I was so wanting. I mean, I was literally looking for ways to get my ass home. Right at that point, and I only had like 8 days left. But I was the arrogant son of a bitch that was still trying to tell them all how to run the program up there. Anyways, so I thought now I'm his assistant, right? Here's a funny thing. No, I'm serious. I swear to God.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
And I was so pissed because up there they call a mayor, right, to run the show, and normally it's the next person that's coming out that's getting ready to go out. Well, I was in line to be the next one. They passed me over because they knew goddamn good and well that was not a good thing for me.
No.
And I was pissed about that, right? What do you mean you're past me?
He was resentful about that.
Oh my God. And then when Chris was telling me to write that stuff down, he almost made it like I was his assistant. So I was writing it down, and I was shutting, and I was like being a part of him. And when I walked into his room the next day, he had all the chairs turned around backwards. And I walked in, I was just turning them back around. He's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, just fixing the chairs. He's like, sit down. That is not your business. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? He goes, those chairs are not your responsibility. Nobody told you to do it. sit down. And I'm like, what the fuck? Do you know who you're talking to? Those words literally came out of my mouth. Do you know who the fuck you're talking to? And I turned around and I sat down, and he goes, nobody's told you to do that. You do not control those chairs. Those are my chairs. And I was like, when he said that, that's when that little pinprick of light shined into my eyes. Lost. Done. I cried for 20 minutes sitting there in front of him. Exposed. Every ounce of nerve, every character flaw I had flashed between my eyes. And I got up out of that, and I was like, I don't know what just happened. I don't know where that light came from, but fuck, I'm going to get more of it. And I chased it. Yeah. And I didn't stop. I still don't. Mm-hmm. Because
he was one of the easiest persons to take through the steps.
Even
you had
to
to kind
this,
of, and I go fast, you know. Yeah. But he even just to kind of hold him back to get.
Even to this day, I still just the more I can do this, just the lightness, that light comes off, right? I recover every day. I want to recover every day because I still remember that feeling. That feeling of uselessness that's gone, right? That peace and that serenity that that just flows through you when you get that, when you feel that, right? It's a drug to me. And it's better than anything I've ever taken in my life.
Well, because that we filled that shape that was there, that God shape.
Right.
It's filled with the right.
Right.
With Him.
Yeah, and it's just that's our, and that's where when I say, when I saw that pinprick, that's what I'm talking about, and it was lifted from me, everything, and going back to what I'm saying is, as you were going through those steps, did you just feel like little layers coming off of you, just little time and time again, and you just kept going deeper and deeper?
Yeah, definitely. And you talked earlier about just that little bit of hope, and that's what I kept feeling.
Right.
Is that little bit, and the hope grew, and it got bigger and bigger. And funny story about my 6th and 7th. I went down a river. Anywhere with water is very special to me. And
I'm
it's
on the back
there.
of my arm right here.
Oh yeah, I'm anywhere with water. That's me, all me. Yeah. So I went down to the river, and I'm spending time with God there, doing my 6th and 7th, and I left with 3 ticks.
Oh no shit! No, but no Lyme disease.
Was that God speaking to you?
I don't know. I just thought it was funny. When I left, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Yeah,
that is funny.
Thankfully, I found them before they latched on. But yeah, I just thought it was funny. But yeah, that freedom that comes from it, and being able to walk other women through it, being able to see them, like you were just talking about that pinprick,
fixing the broken.
It's just so beautiful,
blessing.
so powerful.
That's the greatest part is to watch the light turn on in others.
It's the fixing the broken is just amazing. Yeah.
It's such a gift. And in addition to working an honest program and embracing what my sponsor taught me and following direction, because I knew my way was not working. So I was definitely willing to follow whatever direction she gave me. Not all the time, 100% perfectly. There were many times I called after the fact, after I did something, and been like, and she's like, oh, nice that you called now. Next time call before you make that decision. But for the most part, I very much value and trust her judgment and wisdom. But I went back to school and I got my doctorate, which blows me away. Like,
the rest of the story.
Wow.
And that was just in the last few years.
But you've got a recent promotion, right?
I'm now the interim, which hopefully will turn into permanent, but Chief Behavioral Health Officer for the largest FQHC or federally qualified health center in San Joaquin County.
Holy cow!
I oversee an entire behavioral health department.
Do you know Paul?
We're in San Joaquin and YOLO.
Well, so is he.
Paul
runs the behavioral health center.
Dignity Health?
Dignity.
Okay, yeah, I probably do. I'm sure I went to meetings with him because we work really closely.
Yeah, he's from He's in Oakdale. He's been on this meeting.
I was going to bring that up once I let her say where she just got to the promotion.
Are you really telling me that I jumped ahead of you?
Yeah, you did. That's okay though.
Shut up.
We'll get to Paul.
Can we let's label that? I stepped on Rob.
So now imagine this: Michelle, Dr. Rachel Berry,
and Paul. I'll just sit outside. You all can do it.
We've had Paul and Dr. Rachel on.
Yeah. I think that's the kind of that would be the one where you and I would just sit to the side and let those go after it.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're both in recovery. Is that what I'm?
Yes.
Oh no, Dr. Rachel is.
She's not.
Rachel is it?
Yeah.
Paul
is.
is.
30-something years. But it's amazing how God did the same thing with him. Kind of with you. He went. Got his education, and God just moved, and took one of us.
Right.
Who are not that. Which is for me, I find it special because I'm not I'm not bright, but I'm one of us.
Say that again?
Shut the fuck up. So it's just being honest. But for God to take one of us who's educated and put them there, so they have that extra perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that extra layer. But
It's God, and we same thing with Paul, right? It's just he gets used in such a magnificent way, same as you, right? Just gets used in a magnificent way because not only have you ran through every garbage can drug that's out there, you know, you've lived that. Now you're living the other side of it. Completely educated, completely doctrine. You know, now they
can't bullshit. You've done it.
Yeah.
You've read it.
Yeah.
They can't bullshit.
Who are you going to bullshit? Yeah. Who's going to bullshit you? Right. So that's pretty amazing. That's pretty cool.
I'm super grateful for it. You know, sometimes
that's where you get the heated seats.
Right.
I do. Yeah, that's right.
That's good. Keep that butt warm.
I do get that imposter syndrome sometimes, you know, where I'm like, do I really belong here? You know?
I get it quite often.
Yeah.
I get it.
Reminds me all the time. You work for God.
Yeah.
Right.
That agency signs your paychecks. You work for God, though.
I had it when I came out,
and that's what they see.
Yeah.
They don't know that. They don't know that's what they see, but that's what they see.
Yeah.
That's what they hear.
When I came out of the program, I had a title, right? A GM title. And I took it, I gave it back and I demoted. I took a job that just nothing. And now I'm back into that original role.
Well, God put you back.
Yes. And God has done nothing. And there'll be times where I'll be sitting in my office and I get a phone call from my boss or get a phone call and I'm like, God has really just replaced because of and it's not because I didn't work for it.
No. But what did he say? He took you through. Once you left that
Broke
job,
me.
you went to another job to where you had a boss who really humbled you, which is what
ripped my ego,
which is what
out.
you needed.
I needed that. I still had that a little bit.
Right size, and then once you were the man God wanted you to be,
right.
The woman God wants you to.
Right.
He put you where He wants you, so you can do the most blessing.
Yeah.
And then this company I'm with now, I have dealt with alcoholism with inside the company, and it's just been it just gives me every day this is where God's wanting me. This is where I'm supposed to be, right? And the boss, they're just an amazing humans that I work for. But anyway, so now, do you counsel? Do you still counsel, or are you just directing now?
I don't do direct services at work anymore. Or for my day job. I do keep a small private practice. That way I can keep my skills sharp and be able to, continue to provide services. But right now it's overseeing program. I've been with the agency I'm at for 10 years, and I've been the director for 6 of those years, I think. But now being in that interim chief role, it's a little even further from patients. So I like to stay connected. Yeah. And then I teach at University of Pacific as well, 2 courses, which is
UOP.
So you're a professor as well.
Yeah, and I love doing that.
I see it. I
told you
that
it's a good
right
story.
there, right? That right there is so cool.
Teacher, I got a question.
Yes, I might have an answer.
Okay.
I have so many. Comes back to that.
Shut the hell up. So, on that side of things, what tools have you found that have helped you in sponsorship, in getting the trust, getting through to somebody? What? And what some of the tools that you've learned from A that help the other side?
Yes. So I would say I cannot tell you how many, especially when I was doing direct services, I cannot tell you how many times I heard my sponsor's words coming out of my mouth towards patients. I'm like, I didn't learn this in a textbook. This isn't a cognitive behavioral therapy or whatever type of therapy. This is my sponsor's language, and I would find myself using that. So AA definitely has impacted my professional life, even in the way I practice. And on the other side of it, I feel like God has continually brought me sponsees that are dual diagnosis. So I often have people that maybe, have bipolar disorder along with a substance use or alcohol use disorder. And that is who God tends to bring me.
Yeah.
We had
he brings us people that, he brings me the broken ones who are ready to go, who need it and got to get going. Yeah. That's
we had another one on. It's Heather. And she was dual diagnosed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She was, I couldn't even fathom. I honestly had depression that I dealt with, but that's not the dual diagnosis you're talking about. Heather had, she had skits, right? Yeah. Hers was number 8's a bitch.
Yeah, that's her story was number 8's a bitch. That's her personality would get her in trouble.
So the dual diagnosis to me, and to hear her story, how the people with the dual diagnosis, especially in that mental that fragile mental state of mind, how easy it would be just to throw the victim mentality out there. It's like, see, I can't be healed. I have this, I have that, I got all this stuff, you know, and it's just.
So we got to be careful because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I've ripped on a few old timers, I would say, and I mean, I'm 15 years now, but maybe year 6 or 7 where they would, all you need to do, just quit drinking. Yeah. Well, no, maybe they need more help than that. To go get what you need. This is not, you know, and don't tell people that because you can get someone killed.
Yep.
Yes.
You don't need to be on that medicine. You're not your freaking
So
doctor.
true.
You're not there.
That is one of my biggest pet peeves, and I've seen it too many times.
I'm your sponsor.
In the rooms?
I'm not your.
In the rooms. Yeah.
Do you say anything?
I do.
What a
That's
girl.
something I speak up about.
You
often.
can.
But she can.
You should.
I
I mean,
Right.
I don't have the education, but I did.
Right.
'Cause it's
And if
not
they
right.
say, what do you know? I know.
Sit down, baby.
Yeah, sit down. Let me tell you
show
what
you.
I know.
Yeah. No,
Well, I'll
I
take you for a
definitely
ride
do.
in the heated seats and I'll educate your ass. We'll go for a ride.
Because people are dying.
Dying.
because of
Right.
that, or taking
Right.
their own life.
And that's
it's-
arrogance to say shit.
Right.
Like
It
that.
is. It is.
That's that old school mentality.
It is, and it's not okay. You know, I've seen even, it's not okay. It's like medication can be so frowned on, and yet that person, if they have an organic issue that is preventing them from their brain from working the way mine or yours does,
Right.
who am I to say they should get off medication? That is absolutely inappropriate. Nobody should be doing that.
I had a
But
Kate.
also, you have to be careful on getting off medicine.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's, I mean, don't
Katie's
just stop
bringing
cold
that up.
turkey.
Katie's bringing that up for a purpose because when I've been on Wellbutrin for probably close to a year, I went back on it because I felt, my depression
But-
was starting to come heavily back in. I
But-
felt it.
But you got off. You quit
Recognized
drinking. You
it.
were sober.
Yeah.
You were clear. So you had nothing else in your body.
Right.
So
And
now
I
you
knew,
can have that proper
right.
diagnosis.
And I knew it. Well, then I had, and the other thing was I just had multiple injuries and surgeries going around and around, and that was working on it. So I went back on Wellbutrin, and then I thought, maybe, and this is the alcoholic brain, right? Well, I'm not 150. I'm going to bump it to 300, right? And I asked my doctor. She's like, well, she did, and then I was just numb, right? Numb. So I backed back off of it, and then here, right after my surgery, my last big surgery, I started feeling better. Mentally, I was feeling better.
Well,
So
you
I
weren't
told
in
Katie-
chronic pain, which
Right.
is also a big, very
Right.
debilitating.
Definitely.
And I told Katie, I was like, I think I'm going to back off. She's like, whoa.
Yeah.
No,
Talk to the
no.
doctor. Yeah.
Right. So, but what did I do? I did anyways. Right. And it about,
Self-diagnosed. Sometimes we sponsor ourselves. He's his own
Absolutely.
physician.
Yep.
Physician,
Yep.
heal thyself. There's a
Right.
story in the book, motherfucker.
That's right.
shut the fuck. And anyways, I was off it
You
for
see why he fires me? Because I call him on his shit.
I was off for like 2 or 3 weeks, and Katie said something. I'm like, yeah, I'll go ahead and go back on it. You're right. It's just, those are not the decisions that I can make.
No,
right? I can
no.
tell where I'm feeling, but that decision was a poor decision that I made, and I knew that.
And people do that a lot with medication. They'll start to feel better and then stop what's helping them to feel better.
Hey,
too.
we don't
You know,
go.
it's part of it.
We stop going to meetings because we start
Yes,
feeling better, right?
exactly.
That's our medicine,
Yeah.
right? My dad asked me here a while back. I went to visit him. I was going to the Saturday meeting. Like, where are you going? I go, I'm going to a meeting. How long are you going to have to go to them goddamn meetings? I said, the rest of my fucking life.
I don't
right?
have to, but
Right.
I enjoy
Yeah.
it. So
Get to.
I
Right.
get
I mean, there's a big difference, and that's, other people. I think my grandson asked a while back, Papa, how often you got to go to that? I was like, buddy, the rest of my life. Right. And it's just those things. And if I want to stay where I am right now, I'm going to do it the rest of my life. And I believe everybody, you ask anybody that relapses, you just said
Absolutely.
it.
Stop going to
You
meetings.
just said it.
There's
We stop.
usually the big three, right?
Right.
Quit going to meetings, quit fellowshipping, quit talking to God, quit. quit.
We quit doing the things that got us sober. Right. When the pain goes away, you cut your finger, and once it heals, you forget how you cut your finger, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you just go back to playing with knives again. Well, hey, dipshit, you cut your finger, 8 years ago,
Or
playing those knives.
there's the other ones who someone in the room pisses them off. They
Right.
get a resentment.
Well, we're dealing with a
Instead
brother
of-
that does that.
Instead of hitting a different meeting or going somewhere else,
They hit a bar.
fuck it,
Right.
which they were looking for that.
Right.
They
I
were
mean-
looking for that out because they want to do what they want to do.
Right.
And the big book talks about how we can't recall with
Yeah.
sufficient force
Force.
that pain
Right.
and suffering of
a
a
week
week or
or
a
a
month.
month
Oh,
ago.
I know
Let
what.
alone 7 years ago.
I
I forgot.
that feeling is still extremely raw with me.
And my buddy of mine who was in Arizona, he was 14 years sober, and he would quit going. And just like you said, his car just a drink. I was driving down the road, drink sounded good, his car turned right into the liquor store, and off and running.
Amazing that happens.
We are We are not cured of alcoholism. What we have is daily reprieve,
Daily
on the of our
reprieve.
gain, but we are
Right.
recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of body and mind.
Yeah.
My newest one is my nicotine, right? Because I had for this most recent back surgery, I had to quit nicotine. I've been chewing since I was 8 years old with my grandpa. That was like the only thing that held me accountable to him. Or not accountable.
The nicotine was stopping his body from fusing with the screws or anything, so he was causing his own pain. Still
chewing.
Still chewing.
Just stupid.
Yeah,
But
that's
now,
what we do.
now I use my steps to work through that same process, right? And when I realized that I was chewing because I wanted to hold on, that was how I was holding on to my grandpa, right? That was that. Once I realized I let it go.
Some of the shit you would say,
Yeah.
Larry, when are you going to quit that? I'll quit that when I'm good and ready.
And I did.
Well, I know, but that was also a form of control.
Absolutely.
This
Absolutely.
is mine. I'll do it when I'm ready.
I didn't realize it was controlling me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and hey, listen, towards the end of my chewing, it was the same thing as my alcohol. It stopped. It wasn't doing anything for me anyways, right? I was just doing it because I was doing it.
Yeah.
And it was literally causing just tremendous amount of pain in my body. Anyways. Well, Michelle, you left anything out?
I have a question.
Well, get after it, lady.
So, knowing what you're doing now, do you apply anything that you have learned through AA or through the program to your clients? They don't know that you're giving them AA stuff, but I know that Rob's talked about AA and his kids AAing him.
Oh, yeah.
So, there are a lot of great principles that are in this book or in these steps.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just telling Rob that I hear myself so often using my sponsor's language, that again, it's not something that I've learned in a book. It's not something that, a particular theoretical approach teaches. It's my sponsor told me this, and this is very valid for this. So I constantly use that. Or, talking about acceptance, things that I've learned in this program, definitely they float. It goes to all parts of my life, right? So it definitely comes out at work, comes across in the way I lead. It comes out in the way I lead most definitely.
That's why they have you there.
Yeah, I think so, and I know so, and I know God put me there for a reason, and I couldn't do it without this.
Let me ask you a question on that. Yeah. Did you ever manage before you got sober? Did you manage people before you got sober?
No.
God built this woman for this purpose.
And I appreciate that. The only reason why I ask that is because I manage people so differently now. Before I was cracking whips and throwing and go do. Now I just want to lead from behind. I don't want to be out front.
Well, actually,
I don't want to be that.
I'm going to reverse you on that. You are out front. Before you were the cowboy driving the herd.
Yes.
Now you're the shepherd leading the flock.
But I want them to be successful. I don't want to be recognized for anything going on, right? I want to set them up for success. That is so opposite.
You're a teacher now.
Yeah, I'm a coach. I like to say coach, but that's the most rewarding thing that I've learned in this program is when I see one of our salesmen or something that I've taught. When I see somebody accomplish in a goal out of something that I've taught them, there is nothing in this world better than that.
It's just like watching the light turn on with someone going through the steps. And
there's just nothing.
However,
better than
talk about coaching because he's coached all his life.
Oh,
but
long time.
We coached a flag football team this year.
Oh, God damn it!
Right, and he'd gone away. He was head coach. I was just helping him. He'd gone away down south, so I had to coach, and we lost a game to the number one team. And I got shit. I got ridden. That I had to hear about that till we made it to the finals against the same team where he was back and he coached and he lost by 3 more points than I did. So
no.
Let me remind you, Rob, that it was our daughter's wedding. Why he wasn't?
Oh,
there
that's right. That's right. It was okay. So it's okay.
Just down south, it was just nothing going on.
I was at your daughter's wedding
in the afternoon.
In the afternoon.
Oh, that's right. I coached first. Anyway, so he lost by more points than I did. I just want to never let that down. That was recorded.
I felt bad for that other coach. I just let him have it.
I see him every day at church. I saw him today at church again.
That's funny. Yeah. How come you... Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I want to know why you're not putting the camera on your face.
Oh, because it's fine.
Damn woman.
You can just hear me today. I do have a question, though, for you. So how do you think that your history has affected your children? I mean, I know the negative parts of it and you had to make amends to your kids, but are they at all fearful of having the same trouble?
Yes. I have a couple, well, actually, there may be a time where some of them enter the program, right? My youngest one already went to a program. He's doing really good. I'm super proud of him. But he did get a little flavor of, what addiction is like. And thankfully he's doing okay right now, but we'll see. It definitely has impacted them one of my daughters is scared to drink, so she'll drink on occasion. She's one that, she's funny. She'll have a drink and then drink a glass of water afterwards. And she's like I'm warm. I don't want any more. My other daughter,
So is that the oldest daughter or the second?
The second daughter.
Okay.
Yeah. She's also a teacher. She's actually starting a PhD program next
That's awesome.
fall.
Yeah.
Super proud
So
of her.
cool.
Yeah. And then, my daughter that's a paramedic, she also has struggled a bit in the past. She's doing really well now. But I think the thing that I'm really happy about is they know where to go. If there ever is a time, that they know.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
What does my chip say? From the ashes. My chip's right over there. I think it says from the ashes. You gave it to me. It says something about from the ashes of just, but that's just it's fine. But I always say that, it's just how he builds us out of ash, right?
Yeah.
Just grows us and grows us. It may be the one in my book now, Rob. I don't know. It's one he gave me last year, but it's probably one of my favorite things to think about is just how, and I said this to a guy yesterday, you can't rebuild a house without tearing it down first, right? You cannot, there's no way you can rebuild.
Hey, Bonnie gave a chip to Aaron because I sponsored Aaron for 10 years and 11 years. And he goes, Rob, I don't want a 1 year chip. He just got 1 year. He goes, I don't want it. I've gotten more 1 year chips. I can make a clock. I'll celebrate 2 years. But my wife is intimately, invested in a lot of his family. So she got him one that says, the hardest steel is built out of the hottest dumpster fires.
Right.
She gave it to him.
That's totally Bonnie.
That is totally Bonnie. That's perfect for him.
And so she gave him a lasagna
That's funny.
and a chip.
That's sweet.
Anything else?
No, I just.
That's a good story, huh? I told you.
Yeah, I think you.
That is pretty cool.
I mean, talk about dumpster fires. You said
good
garbage. You
analogy.
took all the garbage, but
Right.
you're not a dumpster fire. You're absolutely amazing.
No,
How
that-
far
and-
you've come, too.
And that is,
Michelle, how old are you now?
46.
you don't
That's
ask
not
a woman.
nice.
That's okay. No, it's okay. I had to think for a second.
Yeah.
But you've lived a lot of life.
I have.
Yeah.
I have lived a lot of life. And I put my mama through a lot, that's for sure. So I'm glad she was
Mama
a praying
still around?
woman. No, but she did see me sober. My mom and
nice.
dad both passed, but very
How
grateful.
did dad? Well, how was? I don't think we ever talked about dad, did we?
We didn't
No. My dad, he was they were always married my whole life.
Right.
They were together. He definitely, it was like growing up with a dry drunk. My dad,
Okay.
I never saw him drink, but he very much had all the symptoms of.
That was my
somebody-
grandpa. That's
yeah.
how my grandpa was an alcoholic, pretty bad alcoholic. He got sober just before I started coming around, and my grandfather was. And it took me till about 2 years ago to realize that my grandfather was just a dry drunk.
Yeah,
It was
that's
he
my
was
dad.
just a dry drunk. And I remember, once I had that realization, I'm like, okay. And I wrote my grandpa a letter, and that was when I forgave him.
Yeah. Yeah, there was, there was a blessing in that too, where my mom actually passed away before my dad, my mom, she had cancer and it had come back, and we found out on a Wednesday and she was gone by we found out on a Friday and she was gone by the next Wednesday. Like, it was super quick.
That's almost a blessing.
Definitely. Like, she talked the whole time, like right up until the last day.
Well, can I ask
And-
what? Because I went through it.
Yeah.
But what kind of cancer?
She had breast cancer before, and then it came back and metastasized. And when they found it, it was in her back. It was all over.
Came back angry.
It came back
They-
angry.
yeah.
But that woman, my mom, was incredible. She was an amazing woman. Like, even that Saturday, so we found out Friday. She got home from the hospital Saturday. My son had his last baseball game, and I was like, Mom, it's okay if you don't, because she was hurting. I said, it's okay if you don't want to go. Everyone will understand. And she's like, I'm going to either be hurting there or here, so I'm going to go watch my grandson play. She's just an amazing woman, very godly woman. But my dad, I kept praying like, God, you got to take my dad before my mom. Because my dad had dementia. I was like, you can't leave my dad here. I thought I knew better than God. And sure enough, my mom died before my dad. And I got my dad for about a year after my mom died. And my children and I took care of him. And he had to have 24-hour care. We moved him in with us. One of my daughters gave up her room. Have never been so proud of my family, nice. And the healing that happened, because my dad was very distant when I was younger, and he didn't know how to be a dad to a little girl. He did not know how. And during that year, like, I had my dad tell me he was proud of me. He would call me sweetheart, baby doll.
That's why God did what He did.
Yep. And I
those are the gifts that mean more to me.
Yeah.
Then the house is nice and the warm butt's nice, but that.
Yeah.
Brothers, sisters.
I have one brother and one sister.
Normals.
My older sister, she's 17 years older than me. She's a big part of why I went into mental health. She struggles with bipolar disorder, and no alcohol use or substance use, but
under control.
Now it is, yes, yeah. When I was younger, I remember
because of the help of her little sister.
I hope to think that she's so funny. Every time she introduces me to someone, she says, "This is my sister. She's a psychiatrist." I'm like, "I'm not a psychiatrist." I tell her every time, but she never hesitates to introduce me as a psychiatrist.
She's proud of you.
Very proud
for
of me.
sure.
It makes me proud too.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I have another question.
You said you had no more.
Let's hear it. I love questions.
But I do have a question.
Good one.
So, being that you were treating patients per se, clients, do you see a lot of correlation between like depression or people who have bipolar or maybe schizophrenia or something like that with alcoholism as well?
Yeah, so you do see a lot of self-medicating. People self-medicating. So sometimes they'll think that, I didn't have this before I stopped drinking. But what happens is you're removing that medication that they've been using. So then you'll see these symptoms come up, whether it's depression, anxiety, or schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. Yeah. So they were
and how many of those things are brought on by drug and alcohol use? It's hard to find the numbers, but
it's kind of which came first, the chicken or the egg. Yeah. There could be some predisposition to both. So I don't know. There's there's different schools of thoughts on what comes first.
I think for me, my depression runs in my family, right? Mm-hmm. I for sure had depression way before
early on.
Right.
And that's being uncomfortable. And early on, we found something that worked for us.
Absolutely.
Well, we thought it did.
Yeah, and I'm very much of a hider, right? When I don't I will absolutely hide
I was a
when
stuffer.
I don't want to talk to people.
I was a stuffer because we were not allowed to,
right.
Our generation show feeling. That's not how men do it. Stuff. Yeah. We'll cry.
Yeah,
all that stuff.
Worked with a lot of men that have. Thankfully, we're coming around a little bit more. Mental health is being more and more destigmatized. I have found that one thing with me being so involved with the AA and it being what saved my life, I do have to remember that not everybody, that's not the solution for everybody. It's because I can be very, judgmental about it. Like, no, you have to go to AA. But
how do they respond to that though?
Well, I don't.
That's interesting. You don't?
I don't, because my sponsor has helped me with that a lot.
How did you learn that without talking to did you learn it without talking to your sponsor, or did something happen?
I learned it. Well, Marianne helped me accept it, I would say. I've learned it in other ways, that there's like this. This could go into a whole rabbit hole you were talking about, but
we love rabbit holes.
Harm reduction, where it's like, let's just minimize.
Dr. Rachel Berry, that's what she's saying.
Okay, so let's just minimize your drinking. I couldn't minimize my drinking.
Right.
I had to stop. But that's not everybody's story.
Right.
That's not everybody's story.
That's funny that the reduction in harm she brought.
That was one of.
But we couldn't survive that way. I couldn't.
Right. And I worry about that. I worry about harm reduction and how many alcoholics are dying because of it. But that's my own bias, because I had to be completely
I'm biased, and they know it. I'm biased against everything. I love AA.
Yeah, me too. But my sponsor really helped me to understand that it is not the be-all, end-all for everybody. So,
but it can help everybody. It wouldn't hurt my
it
grandmother
can.
to go through the steps. I've taken a few non-alcoholics through some step work.
Exactly, Rob. And that's the thing to me is maybe I could have stopped. I couldn't, but let's say I could stop drinking and just stop putting that alcohol to my lips. The things that I have healed from as a result of the 12 steps,
beyond.
Beyond.
I wouldn't have had those had I not been a part of AA.
Sarah, after you left yesterday, we started talking, and Sarah's really contemplating going through the steps. She really is.
I wouldn't hurt my grandmother.
I kind of think too that her friend, the counselor that she works with, is kind of almost getting her there. And I think that she agreed with that yesterday too. And she wasn't,
And she's never had
to
it.
going through the steps. But Rob's talked about walking other people who don't have a problem through the steps. And I think
Other wives.
Some of the wives.
yeah, I think it. I don't know. I mean, I think people can benefit from it too. Just even seeing Larry walk through it again. I know
the
we've
difference.
talked about this a couple of times. Not saying that it was right at the time for what he was going through with Rob too. So I'm grateful, but for what it's doing.
I knocked the head off the snake.
Well, when they come in and
Rob.
we're dying, you just get the low hanging fruit. Now he's 4 years sober, so now more of that onion's ready to go. The steps are the steps. He's different.
Yes.
Absolutely.
He's ready, and that's where that other layer comes off.
You know what? I had a counselor in the very beginning because I loved my counselors, and I had a counselor in the very beginning after I got sober. Another guy that Chris told me to go to, and he actually stopped working with me because I wouldn't journal. He was just if you're not going to start journaling, this is a waste of my time, right? And I would just be like, F you, right? And
it's a great tool.
And I absolutely love, nothing can get resolved until I put it on paper. Yeah. Nothing. When I start putting it on paper, it becomes living and it comes live. And now I can do something with it.
But now we have to do something with it because it's
Correct.
out. It's out. The monkey's out of the bag.
And that's when that control, right? Because I'm a control freak, right? When I get it on paper, now I can do something with it. I can either say this is stupid, or you know what, I know I need to do this, right? Now
sometimes you get so much down on paper you can't even decipher what you wrote.
There's a lot of times
It's out.
I got a book in there. I use these books right here all the time, right? That's why the back of my laptop's that way. I've got about 20 of these floating around. They all have different names on the front of the projects or whatever I'm working on. I have one in there that just says AA letters, right? And it's just if one of you read it, it would make absolutely zero sense because the way I think is the way I write, right? And I could be talking about a squirrel for right now, and all of a sudden I switch to talking about a horse, and just mid sentence. And you read any of my writings, and it'll be that way, right? It'll literally be that way because even I will go back and start reading it. But the healing part of it is it's out, whatever it is, right?
It's not paying rent. Kick it out.
No, it's out.
I need to start doing that. I've never.
I'm just telling you.
But then again, I've sponsored with the way God does with me. Because the book talks about if you struggle with one thing, you just throw yourself into I've never.
But
when I'm working with a guy and something comes up in his 4-step, ooh.
Yeah.
So I'll say, stop, hold on a minute, and I'll start writing.
Yeah.
And I'll say, and I'll do a little mini 4-step with him. And you got to keep that shit to yourself, But that's trust.
Yeah.
But the guy, that's happened to me more times than I can remember.
I'm going to tell you one of my hugest tools that I have because I spend a lot of time on the road.
Did you just say hugest?
One of my largest tools. Shut up.
Oh, yeah.
One of my largest tools that I use is Siri.
If you point
Use
down
Siri.
to your,
Shut up.
go ahead.
We got ladies in the room. It's Siri because I'll be driving down the road and something will be on my brain. I'll say, "Hey Siri, make me a note," and just start talking to it.
That's a good idea.
Just start talking to it. We're in the age of Bluetooth. We're in the age of all this other stuff, right? Hey Siri, make me a note, and it goes right to the notepad. Look, it already kicked up, just right there. And it'll just leave a note. And then once I get to where I'm going, I can go back and read it, or I can just at any given time, it's out. Right? I spoke it. It's out, and I can go on about it. And then what's funny is you'll go back reading notes on whether it's notes for work, and I'll run across something. I'm like, I forgot about this, right? And you can read it, and then you can laugh at it. It's like, why the hell did that even get into my brain, right? Why did that even get in there? But it's just, I have to get stuff out. And I know for a fact when I'm not doing it because I feel it here. I feel it between her and I, right? That's when I feel it the most is when it's here between her and I. Whether it's something that she's done, something I've done, whatever it is, if I write it out, it's gone.
Yeah. So. Takes the power out of it.
For sure. What did you start to say?
Nothing.
We've rambled.
Oh, the God box was another tool.
Yes. Stephanie uses.
I love the God box.
Yeah, Stephanie.
doing that.
Stephanie.
Because I did that for a while, and then when you'd go through like the month, and you would realize, holy, I was so worried about this 2 months ago, and it was nothing. Yeah. It was nothing. The shit I make something like that, and it's huge because don't you know who I am?
Yeah. Right. Stop saying that. Okay, let's get out of here. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thanks for having me.
So our bartering is over. Rob, that use was bigger when you had a little fat on you.
I don't. But you want me to take the shirt off, son?
No, I don't want to see that anymore. Don't want to see that. All right, baby, play us out of here.
Thank you for listening to the Recovery Unfiltered podcast. If you'd like to reach out to us, please email us at recoveryunfilteredpodcast@gmail.com.